There is an old saying, maybe you remember it from childhood yourself. It seems kind of archaic and outdated these days, and it goes something like this. Patience is a virtue. You remember that? Boy, I remember my parents, particularly my mother, telling me that. Patience is a virtue, Simon. You're so impatient. You want everything tomorrow, today. Well, of course you're impatient when you're young. But we live in a world of impatience, I think. And so not only does that little proverb, patience is a virtue, but I think the story of Simeon and Anna, does it make any sense anymore? Simeon and Anna had waited their whole lives. They had waited their whole lives on a single promise, that they would see the Lord's Messiah, that they would somehow see the beginning of the consolation of Jerusalem, the fulfillment of God's promises. And not even the fulfillment, but just the beginning. Because Jesus was just a month old, and they were already octogenarians and would not have seen Jesus live to adulthood. So they wouldn't have even seen Jesus' ministry. They just saw the very beginning, but that was enough. And they had waited their whole lives, faithful and patient. We live in a world, in a society where, is patience a virtue? Why wait when you can have it now? Overnight it. Have it express delivered. Expedited. Amazon Prime. Yeah. We are impatient. I mean, there's always been a part of our culture which has always liked the new. Why have the old when you can have the new? But I think especially in the last 10 or so years, this impatience, I think, has gathered speed. We find waiting almost excruciating. And why wait? And why wait? Isn't waiting sort of a denial of my own rights? I mean, waiting is just a waste of time, isn't it? Of course, we're not completely to blame. There are gigantic forces that are arraigned against us and that encourage us to be impatient and not to wait. Actually, to see waiting and faithfulness as somehow quirky or, yes, a waste of time. You think about the retail industry and the marketing industry and how they work together. This is what you feel slightly unhappy or slightly unfulfilled. Well, here is the latest thing that will fulfill your deepest needs until it doesn't. But that's okay, because then there'll be another new thing that you can have delivered today if you want. And the marketing and retail industry, which is so powerful, they want us to be slightly disgruntled. They want us to be slightly unhappy, slightly unfulfilled, kind of at a bit of a loss, because that's the in. And I'm not saying they're bad people, because that's how they sell things. But our society is kind of geared up to leave us slightly not there yet, slightly unfulfilled. Because someone will come along and present to us what we couldn't imagine, but will fulfill that deepest need until it doesn't. And then there'll be something else. So you have the retail and the marketing industry, and then you have the banking industry, which makes it all possible. You can't afford it today? That's okay. We can take care of that for you. I remember I was first introduced to this miracle of market capitalism when I first came to the States back in, when was it? 95, that's right. And I decided I needed a new computer. And so this is the day, these were the days before you could go online and order things that way. So I had to go to Sears. I'd read some reports about different computers, went to Sears, and I was looking at the computers, Apple Macs back in the day. And a very helpful sales clerk came up, and we were talking about the different features of different systems. And he said, well, you seem to particularly be drawn to this one. Would you like to take it home today? To which I said, well, of course I'd like to take it home today, but I can't afford it. I've got to save up and I'll come back. He said, oh, that's fine. We can take care of that for you. You can just apply for a Sears credit card and you can take it home. And so that's what I did. That's what I did. I got my first Sears credit card, and for just $29 a month for the rest of my natural life, I got to take home this beautiful computer, even though I didn't have a red cent in the bank. Amazing, right? You don't have to wait. It can be yours today. In fact, it's your right. It's your right. And if you don't have your fulfillment today, it's because there's something wrong, or somebody's taken it from you, or you haven't winded up it. Into this, or against this, or parallel to this, is this idea of patience and faithfulness, which is such a key part of our faith tradition, to wait and to be patient and to be faithful. Because patience and waiting and faithfulness really has to do with trust, doesn't it? It's about trust. And my impatience is because I don't trust. Anna and Simeon trusted that God would be good to God's word. And I'm sure in the 80-odd years they must have had their moments, right? I mean, they were human, devout though they were. There must have been times when they must have thought, wow, God is really taking God's time. Am I really going to live to see the fulfillment of God's promise to me? Did I hear it wrong? Am I slightly insane? What am I doing? What am I doing? What is the way forward? But it is fundamentally about trust. Do we trust God to be good to God's promises? Do we trust God that the meek will inherit the earth? Do we trust God that God will wipe away every tear? Do we trust God that love will finally triumph over evil? Do we trust God that death will be swallowed up in the victory of life? Do we trust? Do we trust? And here's the thing. Here is the thing. Because we live, I think, fundamentally in a society that teaches us that it is all about me and about my personal fulfillment and my happiness and my sense of purpose and fulfillment. And if I don't feel those things, then there is something seriously wrong. Whereas our Christian tradition teaches us that maybe it is just enough to carry the light and bear the torch and then pass it on. Even Simeon and Anna did not see the fulfillment of God's promises. And we're still evolving. We're still working on it. God is working on it. We are working on it. And we are not there yet. And maybe you and I, is it enough that we carry the torch of love, the torch of light, in the here and now, And then when the time comes to pass it on, and if we've done nothing more than that, that will have been enough. Can we take the long view? Can we see the big picture? Because our spiritual ancestry is thousands of years old. Our spiritual ancestors are the apostles and the prophets and the patriarchs. We're talking thousands of years. And in contrast to that, our beautiful republic is just a blip in the vast continuum of history. These last 200 years or so are just a comma. Just a comma. But our ancestry is deeper and richer. And so as Simeon and Anna waited, so God calls us to wait. Not in passivity, but in firmness and in strength and in faithfulness. And to trust that in the end, God's promises will be fulfilled, and that patience is a virtue